My good friend and business associate, Steve Stieg, sent me an article here recently. There was a published scientific paper that I thought I would share with you because it is interesting. And apparently, there is a genre of papers along similar lines that I will show you here shortly. But basically, their thesis is that groundwater we pump so much groundwater that we're actually altering the Earth's spin and rotation, and that is triggering sea level rise. So who knew, right? So that is what we're going to talk about in this real quickie on a special edition of Groundwater Talk Live. I am the groundwater guy, and this is going to be a short one, but it is interesting to read some of this stuff. And I guess where there's research money out there and research grants, they will come up with these crazy things. So yeah, what that's my was my initial reaction when I read this, and I suppose you could stretch things a little bit, but I'll talk about that here. But it's definitely interesting and pretty crazy what the basically you take anything and you attach the name climate change to it, and they're going to shovel grant money at you, and that's what appears to be happening in this particular case as well. So let me show you. I'm going to show you the press release. I'll also show you real quick the actual published paper and provide a link for it in below after we do this video, so you can look at it for yourself and let me know in the comments on this video what you think. Is it totally crazy? Is there some credibility to this or not? But it seems pretty spurious to me. Correlation is not causation, and so sometimes we can get some interesting scientific conclusions based on rather dubious data. But you write it up in a scientific sounding paper, and they will throw grant money at you, and hey, what the heck, right? So all right, so let's look at this here. This is the actual press release, which has got the plain English language in it, and so here we go. Here's our headline here. We've pumped so much groundwater that we've nudged the Earth's spin. Pretty wild, right? So the shifting mass and consequent sea level rise due to groundwater withdrawal has caused the Earth's rotational pole to wander nearly a meter in 2 decades. Pretty wild, right? That's all from pumping groundwater. So let's go down here and look at this. Um, here's our first part here is this is kind of where most of it comes from is by pumping water out of the ground moving elsewhere. Humans have shifted such a large mass of water that the Earth tilted nearly 80 centimeters or 31.5 inches east between 1993 and 2010 alone, according to a new study published in Geophysical Research Letters, AGU's journal for short format. High impact research with implications spanning the Earth and space sciences. So that is, there we go. So, and it goes on to say, based on climate models, of course, you got to put that in there to get your grant funding. Scientists previously estimated humans pumped 2,150 gigatons of groundwater, equivalent more than 6 millimeters or 0.24 inches of sea level rise from 1993 to 2010. But validating that estimate is difficult. Yeah, let's look at this. No kidding, right? How do you, how do you do that? So, um, so one approach lies with the Earth's rotational pole, and they go on to talk about their methodology a little bit, and then they go on down here to basically say that water's ability up to change the Earth's rotation was discovered in 2016. So that's there you go. So we're figuring it all out, right? So I equate. I mean, it's like anthropogenic climate change, you can say there are some contribution to the weather patterns, but let's be serious. How significant is this really? I mean, and believe it or not, there is some studies that show that the weight of all the concrete and stuff in New York City is actually causing some similar effects and subsidence. And I guess we could probably conduct a study if we tied it back to climate change. We could probably get some money for this that shows if we got everybody together in one place at one time and we all jumped up and down, we could knock the Earth out of its orbit. So maybe I'll apply for some grant funds if I can tie that back to climate change, and we'll see how much money we can get on that. Anyway, this article goes on to talk about that a little bit. Let's see, get out of there. Um, and the model only matched observed polar drift once the researchers included 2,150 gigatons of groundwater redistribution. So, pumping all this groundwater out and moving it somewhere else has basically shifted things around to the point um, where it's caused the Earth's pole to shift. Now we could start punching a lot of holes into this, but I just wanted to present this to show you how crazy some of these things get in the name of climate science and go from there. So here's a copy of the paper here, and there is some recommended. This is the actual paper itself. Drift of Earth's pole confirms groundwater depletion as a significant contributor to global sea level rise 1993 to 2010. So they don't really get too much into the mechanism, just that there's a correlation, at least as I read through this. I didn't read it word for word necessarily, but I went through it in some detail, and they didn't get into all the mechanisms here, just the fact that they found a correlation in their study. So, but if we go down here in the recommended papers on the side here, let's just kind of look at this here. So we got some interesting, global depletion of groundwater resources. Groundwater depletion contributes to sea level rise. Here's another paper here. Um, uh, you know, uh, they got this data from the NASA's GRACE satellites, which actually are good for measuring groundwater and patterns and developing regional hydrogeological models. No doubt about that. But I think they're stretching it a little bit. And lastly, here the weight of New York City, possible contributions to subsidence from anthropogenic sources. So. That's that's kind of what we're looking at here. I will put a link to this paper in the show notes here, or in the below the video, and tell me what you think. Let's look at this and see. And let me know what you think. I think it's interesting, and some of this stuff is kind of crazy to me, but maybe there's some legitimacy there. But I'm a climate change skeptic anyway, so I'm a little biased against this stuff. But this seems a little out there to me, and spurious correlation stuff anyway. So all right, so we do our regular Groundwater Talk live show Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central on YouTube and LinkedIn. So please join us there, and I will see you in the regular show. Let me post your comments. Let me know what you think about this what I think is a wild idea, and let me know. Thank you.